introduce with you BrandLoom's mission. Our mission is primarily to apply branding, digital, and e-commerce capabilities to enable our customers to develop world-class skills and abilities to meet their customer needs efficiently. The values that we cherish at BrandLoom are integrity, honesty, cooperation and constant learning, and principled entrepreneurship. These are the things that enable our team to deliver results. So today we are going to talk about a topic called the positioning trap. Why? Because today we are seeing that lot of brands look, feel, and sound very similar to each other, and we call this a positioning trap. So let me throw some more lights on that, and then what essentially it is and why we are talking about that. Everybody thinks that their brand is special, so are others. But the point is, the issue here is this, that in a survey of over 100,000 customers and 800 plus brands, it was revealed that only 5% brands are considered unique. 80% brand believe that they are delivering authentic and distinct content, but customer don't agree with that. And customer think that the messaging and the brand communication that is coming is very similar to the other brand. We also found that in a survey, 73% executive are saying that strategy is not differentiated. So they themselves are saying that their strategy is not differentiated and there is nothing unique about it. Only 35% believe that their strategy will actually lead to success. So that's a big issue, that the executive themselves are not very confident about what they are saying about their brands. Now, this is a paradox, the blending epidemic. If you look at all the brands look similar. The formula today is that create a made up word for the brand name, use sans serif as typeface, and little bit and little less or little bit more of white space, and your brand is ready. To appeal to target customers, they mimic the leader brands, and they actually kind of copy them so that they sound similar. And every brand says that they're innovative, they're seamless, end to end, customer centric, world class. Now, all these adjectives are used very randomly and very freely by brands without even looking into the fact that whether those adjectives are actually helping them, or whether the customer is finding anything unique which actually helps them. At BrandLoom, we have done word frequency analysis of our customers' messaging and their top five competitors. And we have found that there is more than 70% overlap. Okay. The reason is that everybody is talking the language of the category. So in a specific category, I talk like this, so everybody start talk like that, and everybody becomes a Me Too brand, and this endemic is becoming bigger and bigger because now people are using more and more AI to create brand positioning. And when you do that, what happens that everything start to look similar because AI is built on what is existing available right now. Here are the five dangerous things that we have seen that is driving blending among brands. The number one is the fear of exclusion. The brands don't want to be excluded from the marketplace. They want to be seen as the brand from the category. So and they try to appeal to everyone. And when you try to appeal to everyone, you end up appealing to no one. The second thing is an inside out thinking. Most of the brands start by thinking internal. Okay? The brand story should begin with the customer's pain points, what the customer is feeling. It should not start from what you have built. So you might have built anything, but if you don't understand what the customer pain points are, then how are you going to create something which actually resonate with your customer? The world doesn't care about your product; they only care about the the benefit of the product and what it can do for them in their life. The third thing is the chasing the category leader. Most of the new brands, they want to follow the category leader. So if the leader is like that, that's how we want to be. You cannot Amazon, you cannot beat Amazon, you cannot beat McKinsey. If you are playing in their turf, you're going to get beaten out of it. So you need to create your own unique storyline so that you can connect with consumers. Fourth is suits driven messaging. Most of the messaging is driven as if you're trying to impress the boardroom audience. Your products are designed for a consumer and customers. You need to bother about them, not about the boardroom. Lastly, positioning is has become only a document, and brands or the agencies don't even look at it. Most brand statements are only logged in PDF documents, but I want to tell you that positioning is a living document. It needs to work with you day in, day out. Without looking into your positioning document, you cannot decide any strategy, you cannot make any strategy. So this is something which is extremely important. So, what is the real cost of blending? The first one is that, if your brand is similar to everybody else, so what is the difference? That there is no other difference except the price. So when you are similar to the everybody else in the market, what happens that you are forced to reduce your price because that is the only differentiator. If your price is high, you will not sell. So this is basically a race to the bottom. The second thing is that weak brands can't charge more. Every brand wants to charge more to be able to be more profitable. Because without profit, you can't survive or you cannot do innovations. Okay, you cannot do something different, something unique. New products cannot come in. You cannot upgrade your existing offering. And weak brands get in the cycle wherein they are reducing the pricing, the lower profits start to come in, and competition also reduces. Then you again reduce the price, and finally you become unprofitable and you get out of the game. Third, these brands become invisible when there is no meaningful differentiation. When you are not able to connect with consumer in a unique manner, what happens that your revenue growth stalls. We have seen that a brand with meaningful differentiation and unique customer connection can grow 5 times more than the industry. So that is something you need to pay a lot of attention to. The fourth thing is that growth stall across funnel. The reason is that marketing team have to spend more money to generate revenue. The more they spend, the less profitable they are. Okay, sales, it takes longer to convert, to close the sales cycle, and that's why that's how the growth stalls, because everything becomes highly full of friction. So growth stalls. And finally, fifth point is that nobody notices when you disappear. These brands who are not unique, who are blending with others, in some time they disappear from the market and nobody notices. Nobody feels that the brand is no longer there in the market. So now let me define the positioning trap. The positioning trap is this, that your positioning describes the category you are in, not the brand you are. So your positioning becomes so much category speak that you are trying to be part of the category and your positioning only talks about that. When you define yourself relative to somebody else, so for example, if when a positioning is only compared to competition, you are actually telling that a competition is actually more stronger or that they came before you. Your positioning reflects what you are proud of internally, your technology, your heritage, your process, rather than what the customer actually needs or feel. Now, This is what happens when the positioning trap happens. Then that you start to create positioning based on your technology, your heritage, your process, and things like that. And you are immune to, or you don't pay attention to what the customer actually are. When these three things come together in some other form, you are in a positioning trap, and it is very difficult to get out of this positioning trap. This is a sure short recipe for disaster. So at BrandLoom, we have a detection test. We will ask you, if you remove your name or logo, could your sales team identify your copy? So, for example, if you lay down 5 copies and you remove brand names and logo from all those things, can your sales team find out which one is your copy, which one is your pitch? If your answer is no, then you are in this positioning trap. True positioning is all about occupying a specific valued place that nobody has credibly claimed. And this space has to be valuable for consumer. See, a customer might have multiple pain points. One brand might be solving one pain point, another brand might be solving another pain point. Okay, you have to find a unique position so which you can occupy and start from there. Try to grow that piece rather than moving into a space which is already occupied by somebody. At Brandon, we also do the three test check. The logo swap test, like I talked about in the previous slide. If you take your copy and remove your logo and other things, whether your sales team will identify. At the same time, if you also take your copy and put on a competition site, will somebody able to say that this doesn't make sense there? Means your copy, your messaging does not fit any other competition. That's when the copy is impactful. That's when a copy is unique. Okay. After reading your positioning statement, can someone say what makes you different? If after reading positioning statement nobody can tell you that why are you different, then it's a big issue. Other thing is this, that does the messaging sound like how your actual consumer describe you. So you have your messaging or your positioning, and when consumer you ask consumer about your brand, are they in sync? If they're not in sync, then there is a big problem, because you are saying something, customer is perceiving something, means there is a messaging um, gap, and that is not good for the brand. What we have seen is that when brands are doing well, they don't pay attention to positioning. Okay, they think that repositioning or looking into positioning or upgrade or making a positioning uh, for current context is riskier game, and they don't want to play it. But that is something you should look into. That even if your brand is doing well, you look at the current scenario, you look at the scenario, what's happening in the marketplace, what are the dynamics at the consumer level. Okay, start making changes, start looking at your positioning. Okay, it doesn't make sense to do positioning change after you lost the market. So keep testing your positioning all the time. Other thing is the category speak audit. Brands that can explain who they are, who they serve, and why they matter in one clear sentence have an unfair advantage, because clarity is a big differentiator. So as a brand, you should be able to communicate that. You know, at BrandLoom, we also do word frequency audit. We pull the most used words from client's website and look at the overlap with competition and map the overlap. And if that overlap is very high, means that you are speaking the category language. You are not going to get differentiated from what the market is saying, and that's going to be a big challenge. Other thing is the specificity test. Every time you are tempted to write innovative, be specific about it. What makes you innovative? It's a cliche, saying we are innovative, we are best. Why are you best? Why are you innovative? Most of the brands are not able to communicate that. Look at example of Amul. Amul says that India drinks Amul milk. And why they can say that? Because Amul is a brand is everywhere all through the country. All through the country, their products are available, and that's why they are able to say that Amul milk is used by all the people in India. Can any other brand claim that? No other brand can claim that. So Amul's brand positioning is unique, and they can substantiate that. So whatever you claim has to be substantiable, and that should be unique. And this is a claim which is unique for Amul. And now imagine, suppose today Amul is saying this. Suppose tomorrow some other brand come and try to say that. Now they will get into Amul's territory, and Amul will beat them left, right, and center because they're already talking about it. They've already built that perspective. Somebody else come and try to do that. People will say, yeah, that's Amul, not the other brand, and that's the mismatch. And that's how the brand doesn't look and feel unique. Okay, there are brands that have made that have broken that have broken the category speak. Look at Oatly. Oatly says that unlike every other plant-based milk uh, that is healthy and natural, they have specified the positioning saying that it is like milk but made for humans. There are other brands that are saying that we have plant-based milk and other things, but they have talked about a specific thing. On top of that, they also go ahead and talk about the carbon blueprint. They said that we can talk about it. Can dairy industry talk about it? Now, that's what put them at the leader's position, where they are taking another industry head on. Okay, and that's how they're positioning themselves uniquely. Okay, look at Wasabi. Wasabi says that they're 6x faster and one fifth the price of AWS. Clear, unique. It is it is something which is very bold to say that you're pitching yourself against AWS, and you're saying that you are 6x faster. That's a tall claim. That's a very tall claim. But they're able to differentiate. Now, with such things, you are able to break free from the industry there where you are, and you are able to differentiate yourself. One more thing I want to talk about, so differentiation versus distinctiveness. Okay, many brands try to say things in a distinct way, same message in a distinct way, but it doesn't work. Okay, first is differentiation. You need to say how you are different and how that differentiation is unique for your consumer. Why should a consumer pay attention to that differentiation? It should be set in consumer's reality. Okay, so differentiation is very important, very powerful. It is something which is required. Okay, if your brand is differentiated and you you communicate the differentiation in a distinct manner with unique visual identity, tone, character, and codes, etc., that's when your brand starts to grow. Differentiation brings credibility, distinctiveness amplifies it. So, just because you have a different packaging doesn't mean that your brand will work. It might get you sale once or twice, but not for a longer period of time. So, distinctiveness is a power that amplifies your differentiation, your credibility. So, you need to build it accordingly. Okay. So, here is BrandLoom's point framework. So, the P stands for pin down your customer's unsaid truth. That is the most important thing when you're designing your positioning. Pin down your customers' pain points, their fears, their frustrations, what they can't fully articulate. The brand that works on it first owns it. O stands for own a specific tension in your category. So customer might have multiple pain points. Don't talk about everything. Just choose one. The dominant frustration that you can solve. Something that nobody else has solved yet. Take that and start working on that. I stands for identify what you only you can say credibly. So like I said before, choose the pain point that you can solve and build your build your positioning in such a way that you know that you have got credibility in place. You can actually talk about that. Okay. N stand for narrow your audience deliberately. So once you choose a specific pain point, you'll also be narrowing your audience. When you narrow your audience, you know whom you're talking to. And once you start to talk to them, you can talk loudly, you can talk enough to convince them, reach out to them, communicate with them, because you are not talking to everybody, you are talking to only few number of people. So money will work that much strong. And because you're talking in their language, they will also respond faster. Okay? And T stand for test ruthlessly before you publish anything. Now, many times what happens that for speed, people use AI tools, generate content, and they just keep on publishing it, and the brand is getting lost. Okay, I suggest three tests: logo swap, so what, and customer code. If it fails any one of them, it is time to go back to drawing board. It is time to redesign your content. Okay. Now, last thing is this: start with three questions. Ask, can your ideal customer describe your brand in one sentence without using your words your competitors also use? If your ideal customer is able to describe your brand, that's a great thing. Does your positioning give someone a reason to choose you? Whatever positioning you have, if that position does not resonate with the customer, what is the point of having that positioning? So it has to resonate. Okay? If that becomes a reason to choose you, you're great. If your brand disappeared tomorrow, who would actually miss it? They are your real audience. If you remove your brand, who are going to miss you? Think like that. If you answer I'm not sure to any one of these questions, this is this is a content problem, not a design problem. So design is not the matter here. Here the content is the problem. Okay, it is basically a positioning problem. Okay, it is, so you need to solve your positioning. Otherwise, nothing will get solved. You solve positioning, you get the right content, you get right design, you get and budget starts to perform. So that brings us to the end of the presentation, and I'll see if there are any questions. Then I will try to answer them. So Arnav asks, what do you suggest for brands competing in nascent and still evolving sector, such as urban company? See, urban company is a unique example. But if you look at urban company, what they were trying to solve, they were trying to solve the problem that you have when you start to work with unorganized service sector. So, for example, plumbers, carpenters, electricians, and things like that. So the quality of work is a problem. The timeliness was a problem. The charge was a problem. They put the entire thing in a systematic manner. Okay, and once they did that, they they started to talk about it. They started to talk about the reliability. They started to talk about the trustworthiness. That if after doing the service something goes wrong, we'll provide you free support and things like that. So brands like this urban company, they also looked into the customer pain point and they build upon it. So even if you are working on a new category, new business model or something, try to understand the pain point that you are trying to solve. If you look at most of the businesses, with the new age businesses, they started with the consumer pain point. They said that this is the problem customer is facing. How can I solve it? And they tried to solve it, and they started to communicate about it. And when you communicate about that, it becomes easier for people to understand. Tanmay asks, can AI generated content make brand messaging more generic? Certainly. AI is built on AI generated content is basically generated content on already available content. So if you just take AI generated content, it is definitely going to be built on what is there in the marketplace. and because it's already built, it is built on what is available in the marketplace. It is going to be very, very generic. It will not have the unique take of your brand. So you need to be very careful about AI generated content. Tanmay has another question saying that do customer really notice brand positioning or only the product and price? See, product and price are hard reality, but brand positioning is something which becomes unique to it, because that is the reason why will a consumer buy your brand over a competition. So yes, price can play a role, that you are the cheapest brand so people will buy, but how long you want to play the cheap game? Because that's the recipe of disaster, because everybody will keep on reducing the price, and that becomes very, very difficult for companies to survive or brands to survive. So when you launch a product with a unique positioning, a unique pain point, the customers start to feel that hey, this product is designed for me, and then they are willing to pay more for it. Otherwise, if you have a me too product and consumer don't feel that, then what will happen? They will say, okay, let me just buy which is cheapest. And that's what happened in a potato market. When you go to the vegetable market, where there is no differentiation, you actually try to buy the cheapest and cheapest potatoes and vegetables. But look at, in the market there will be a shop which is selling organic food, which will be a shop which will be selling natural foods, and people are willing to pay double, triple the amount of money from the local market. Why do they do that? Because the retailer is saying that I bring organic vegetables, I bring pesticide free vegetables, and the customer is willing to pay extra. So they took the pain of communicating the brand promise, and they looked at the pain point of the customer. Not everybody is going to buy from the organic store, but whoever does, they buy it because that store owner decided to position itself in a unique manner. So that's one example where, you know, which is also applicable to categories where there no brands exist. Okay, so that brings us to all the end of all the questions. Thank you everybody, and thank you for joining this LinkedIn live. Take care.